The wind howled across the frozen landscape of Antarctica like a wild animal searching for prey. Dr. Maya Rodriguez pulled her thick jacket tighter around her body as she walked through the research station. She had been working here for 3 years now, studying strange life forms that somehow survived in this freezing wasteland. Most people thought Antarctica was just empty ice and snow, but Maya knew better. This place held secrets that could change everything we knew about life itself. She spent her days looking at tiny creatures through microscopes, creatures that lived in conditions that should have killed them instantly. On this particular morning, something felt different. The ice scanning equipment had picked up something unusual buried deep beneath the surface. The readings didn't make sense. Whatever was down there was huge, metallic, and definitely not natural. Maya stared at the computer screen, rubbing her tired eyes. The coffee in the research station tasted like mud, and she hadn't slept well in weeks. But this discovery made her heart race with excitement. After getting permission from her team leader, she grabbed the drilling equipment and headed out into the bitter cold. The drilling took hours. Maya's hands were numb even inside her thick gloves, and her breath came out in white clouds that froze almost instantly. But she kept going. Something inside her knew this was important, maybe the most important thing she would ever find. When the drill finally broke through, Maya felt her stomach drop. There was a hollow space down there, much bigger than anything that should exist, naturally. She lowered a camera on a long cable, and what she saw on the screen made her gasp. It wasn't a cave or an ice formation. It was something that looked like it had been built, not grown. The walls had a strange, smooth texture that seemed to glow with a soft blue light. Maya had never seen anything like it in her entire career as a scientist. Getting down into the space was dangerous, but Maya couldn't resist. She set up ropes and climbing gear, then slowly made her way down through the ice. The temperature dropped even more as she descended, and the air felt different somehow, thicker and more charged with electricity. What she found at the bottom changed her life forever. The object was clearly some kind of vehicle, but unlike anything humans had ever built. It was made of a material that looked like crystal, but felt warm to the touch. Strange symbols covered its surface, symbols that seemed to shift and change when Maya looked at them directly. But the most shocking discovery was inside. Through a transparent section of the craft, Maya could see a figure lying motionless. At first glance, it looked almost human, but there were differences that made her hands shake as she examined it more closely. The being was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to shimmer with different colors like oil on water. Its features were elegant and strange, beautiful in a way that was completely alien. Maya's scientific training kicked in. She took photos, measurements, and samples of the air around the craft. Everything she recorded showed that this being was alive, but barely. Its vital signs were weak and getting weaker by the hour. The smart thing to do would have been to call her supervisors immediately. This was the kind of discovery that would bring government officials, military personnel, and scientists from around the world. But something stopped her from making that call. Maybe it was the peaceful expression on the being's face, or the way its chest rose and fell so slowly, like someone having a beautiful dream. Whatever the reason, Maya felt a protective instinct. She had never experienced before. This being needed help, not interrogation. Working carefully, Maya found what looked like an opening mechanism on the craft. The symbols on the surface grew brighter when she touched them, and with a soft sound like wind chimes, a section of the craft opened. The being inside stirred slightly, and Maya got her first close look at something truly not of this world. Its eyes opened slowly, revealing pupils that were larger than human eyes, adapted for different light conditions. When those eyes focused on Maya, she saw intelligence there, and something else that surprised her completely. Fear. This powerful, advanced being was afraid of her. Maya did something that went against all her training. Instead of taking more samples or calling for backup, she spoke softly to the creature, the same way she might comfort a frightened animal. She had no idea if it could understand her words, but she hoped her tone would convey that she meant no harm. Over the next few hours, Maya worked to stabilize the being's condition. She brought down heating equipment, oxygen tanks, and medical supplies from the research station. She told her colleagues she was investigating unusual ice formations and needed to work alone for safety reasons. The being, which Maya started thinking of as female based on her graceful features, seemed to respond to the warmer environment. Her breathing became stronger, and the shimmer in her skin grew brighter. But Maya could tell she was still in serious danger. Using her knowledge of extreme environment biology, Maya created a makeshift life support system. She had studied creatures that lived in impossible conditions, and she applied that knowledge to help this alien visitor. It was the biggest gamble of her scientific career, but somehow it was working. As the days passed, Maya found herself spending every free moment with her secret patient. She brought books, thinking that perhaps showing human knowledge might help build trust. She played soft music on her portable speaker. She even brought down her lunch and ate beside the craft, showing that she considered this being a friend, not a specimen. Slowly, incredibly, the alien began to respond. She started making soft sounds that might have been her language. She moved, her hands in graceful gestures that seemed intentional, like she was trying to communicate. Most amazingly, she began to show interest in Maya's books and equipment, reaching out carefully to touch things with obvious curiosity. Maya realized she was witnessing something that would change human history forever. But more than that, she was forming a connection with someone from another world. Someone who had traveled unimaginable distances only to crash land in Earth's most remote location. The question that kept Maya awake at night was simple but terrifying. What was she going to do next? She couldn't keep this secret forever, but she also couldn't bear the thought of her new friend being taken away and treated like a laboratory experiment. Little did Maya know that her alien friend was far more important than she could have ever imagined, and that this chance encounter would soon involve the fate of two entire worlds. 3 weeks had passed since Maya first found her mysterious visitor, and everything had changed. The alien, who Maya had started calling Luna because of her moon-like glow, was getting stronger every day. What started as a rescue mission had turned into something Maya never expected, a friendship that crossed the stars. Luna was incredibly smart. Maya discovered this when she left some of her research papers near the craft one day. When she returned, Luna was studying them with intense focus, her large eyes moving across the pages in patterns that showed she was actually reading and understanding the content. The breakthrough came when Luna picked up Maya's pen and started drawing. At first, Maya thought she was just copying the symbols she saw in the research papers. But then Luna drew something that made Maya's heart skip a beat, a perfect diagram of a DNA molecule, but with additional structures that human science had never discovered. Maya grabbed her own pen and drew a simpler version of the same molecule, the way humans understood it. Luna looked at Maya's drawing, then at her own, and made a sound that could only be described as gentle laughter. She took the pen again and showed Maya where human science was missing crucial connections. In that moment, Maya realized she wasn't just helping an injured visitor recover. She was learning from someone whose knowledge was centuries, maybe thousands, of years ahead of human understanding. Their daily routine became something Maya looked forward to more than anything else in her life. Every morning, she would climb down into the hidden chamber with coffee for herself and a special nutrient mixture she had created for Luna. They would sit together, sharing breakfast in comfortable silence, two beings from different worlds finding peace in each other's company. Luna learned to communicate using drawings, mathematical symbols, and simple gestures. She showed Maya images of her home world by creating detailed sketches that took Maya's breath away. Cities that floated in the clouds, connected by bridges made of what looked like living light, trees that grew in perfect spirals, reaching toward, multiple suns in a sky painted with colors that had no names in any human language. Maya shared her own world through photographs on her tablet. She showed Luna pictures of Earth's oceans, forests, and mountains. Luna seemed especially fascinated by images of human families, touching the screen gently when she saw photos of Maya's parents and siblings back home. But it was their work together. That truly amazed Maya. Luna had an incredible understanding of biology that made Maya feel like a beginner. When Maya showed her the microscopic creatures she studied, Luna drew connections between different species that revealed patterns Maya had never noticed. She helped Maya solve research problems that had puzzled her for years, all through simple drawings and patient demonstrations. Luna showed Maya how to modify her equipment to see things that were invisible to normal human observation. With Luna's guidance, Maya discovered that the tiny creatures in Antarctic ice were actually far more complex than anyone had realized. They had intricate communication systems and survival strategies that could revolutionize human understanding of life itself. Working together felt natural, like they had been research partners for years instead of weeks. Maya found herself staying longer each day, sometimes falling asleep in her chair beside Luna's craft. She would wake up to find a blanket carefully placed over her shoulders, and Luna watching over her with what Maya had learned to recognize as concern. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal when she returned to the main research station. Her colleague, Dr. Peterson, the station director, had started asking questions about Maya's long absences and her sudden improvements in research quality. "Maya, your recent papers are incredible," Peterson said one evening over dinner. "The discoveries you're making down in Sector 7 are groundbreaking. How are you finding these patterns that our best equipment missed?" Maya forced a smile and mumbled something about new analytical techniques and lucky observations. But she could see the suspicion in Peterson's eyes. He was a good scientist, and good scientists noticed when things didn't add up. The pressure was getting worse. Maya's published research papers, enhanced by Luna's knowledge, were attracting attention from scientists around the world. Universities were calling, wanting to know about her methods. Government research agencies were asking questions about her funding and equipment. Luna seemed to understand Maya's stress. One day, she drew a picture that made Maya's eyes fill with tears. It showed two figures, one that looked like Maya and one that looked like Luna, standing together on what appeared to be a stage, with crowds of other figures watching and applauding. Above them, Luna had drawn symbols that Maya had learned meant truth and friendship. Luna was telling Maya that she was ready to reveal herself to the world, if that's what Maya needed. But Maya wasn't ready for that. She had seen enough movies and read enough books to know what would happen if the world discovered Luna. There would be military forces, government officials, and scientists who saw Luna as a specimen to study rather than a person to respect. Maya couldn't bear the thought of Luna being treated like a laboratory experiment. The situation became more complicated when Luna showed Maya something that changed everything. Using her advanced knowledge, Luna had been studying Maya's equipment and computers. She had learned to access the internet through Maya's tablet, and she had been reading about human history, politics, and current events. What Luna discovered worried her deeply. She drew pictures showing wars, environmental destruction, and the way humans often treated anything different with fear and violence. Then she drew herself being taken away, separated from Maya, locked in some kind of facility. Luna was afraid of humanity, and Maya couldn't blame her. That night, as Maya lay in her small bed at the research station, she realized that their peaceful time together was coming to an end. Peterson's questions were getting more direct, and Maya was running out of excuses for her secretive behavior. Soon she would have to make a choice that would change both their lives forever. But for now, Maya treasured every moment of their impossible friendship, knowing that she was experiencing something that no human in history had ever experienced before. A true connection with someone from the stars. Everything fell apart on a Tuesday morning that started like any other. Maya was preparing Luna's morning meal when she heard footsteps echoing through the ice chamber above. Her blood turned cold. Nobody was supposed to be in this sector except her. Dr. Peterson's voice called down through the opening, sharp and suspicious. "Maya, what exactly are you doing down there? I've been tracking your equipment usage, and the numbers don't match your reports." Maya's hands shook as she quickly covered Luna's craft with a thermal blanket, hoping it would hide the strange glow. She climbed up through the opening, forcing her voice to sound calm. "Just collecting samples from the ice layers, Peterson. Nothing unusual." But Peterson wasn't buying it anymore. His eyes were cold and calculating as he studied the equipment Maya had set up. Samples that require life support systems? Heating units that run 24 hours a day? Maya, I've been patient with your secretive behavior, but this ends now. Before Maya could stop him, Peterson pushed past her and started climbing down into the chamber. Maya's heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. This was the moment she had been dreading for weeks. Peterson's shocked gasp echoed through the ice when he saw Luna's craft. The thermal blanket had slipped, revealing the crystalline structure and its otherworldly occupant. Luna was awake, her large eyes wide with fear as she stared at the stranger who had invaded her sanctuary. "Dear God," Peterson whispered, his face pale with disbelief. "Maya, what have you done? What is this thing?" "She's not a thing," Maya said firmly, climbing down to stand protectively between Peterson and Luna. "Her name is Luna, and she's hurt. I've been helping her recover." Peterson pulled out his satellite phone with trembling fingers. "I'm calling the authorities. This is beyond anything we can handle here. The military needs to know about this immediately." Maya watched in horror as Peterson made the call that would destroy everything. Within hours, the peaceful research station was swarming with people in military uniforms. Black helicopters landed on the ice, and serious-looking officials in expensive suits arrived with equipment Maya had never seen before. They moved fast and efficiently, like they had planned for this exact situation. Luna was transferred from her craft to a containment unit that looked more like a prison than medical equipment. Maya tried to stay close to her friend, but soldiers kept pushing her away. "You don't understand," Maya pleaded with Commander Hayes, the stern woman leading the operation. "She's intelligent. She's peaceful. She was just exploring when her ship crashed." Commander Hayes looked at Maya with cold professionalism. "Dr. Rodriguez, you've potentially compromised national security by hiding this discovery. You'll be debriefed separately. As for the specimen, it will be transferred to a secure facility for proper study." The word specimen made Maya feel sick. They were talking about Luna like she was some kind of laboratory rat, not a being with thoughts and feelings and fears. As they loaded Luna into a transport vehicle, Maya caught sight of her friend's face through the containment unit's window. Luna looked directly at Maya, and in that moment, Maya saw something that broke her heart. Luna wasn't just afraid anymore. She looked betrayed, like she thought Maya had planned this all along. "Wait!" Maya shouted, breaking free from the soldier, holding her back. She ran to the transport vehicle and pressed her hand against the window. Luna slowly raised her own hand to match Maya's position, separated only by the cold glass. In desperation, Maya pulled out her pen and quickly drew on. The steamed window, the same symbols Luna had taught her that meant friend and trust and together. Luna's eyes filled with what looked like tears as she recognized the message. Then they took her away. Maya was placed under house arrest at the research station while officials decided what to do with her. She spent 3 days in her small room, unable to eat or sleep, thinking about Luna alone and scared in some government facility. On the 4th day, Maya made a decision that would change her life forever. She couldn't let Luna suffer for her mistake. Using her security clearance and knowledge of the facility's layout, Maya broke into the communications room and hacked into the government's secure network. What she found made her stomach turn. Luna was being held at a classified research center 300 miles away. The files showed medical procedures, stress tests, and experiments that made Maya realize Luna was being tortured in the name of science. Maya stole a snowmobile and disappeared into the Antarctic wilderness. The journey to the government facility was dangerous and nearly impossible, but her determination kept her going. She had failed to protect Luna once. She wouldn't make that mistake again. The rescue attempt was like something from a movie. Maya used her scientific knowledge to create distractions, disable security systems, and navigate through the facility's maze-like corridors. When she finally found Luna, her friend was weak and barely conscious, but alive. As they escaped together, through the facility's emergency exits, Luna managed to speak in broken English for the first time. "Maya, friend," she whispered, her voice like music made of starlight. But their freedom didn't last long. As they reached the snowy landscape outside, Maya realized they were surrounded. Military vehicles had them trapped and there was nowhere left to run. That's when Luna did something that changed everything Maya thought she knew about her friend. Luna stood up despite her injuries and spoke in a voice that carried incredible authority. The words weren't in English, but somehow Maya understood their meaning. Luna was calling for help, and she was calling in a language that could reach across the stars. High above them, lights began to appear in the sky. Not one or two lights, but dozens, then hundreds. Ships were arriving, ships that made human technology look like stone tools. Luna looked at Maya with a sad smile and spoke again in her musical voice. "Maya, friend, now you know truth. I am not lost traveler. I am Queen of Zephyrah, and my people, they come for me." Maya stared at her friend in shock, realizing that everything was about to change, not just for them, but for the entire human race. The sky above Antarctica had never looked like this before. Massive ships hung in the air like floating cities, their surfaces gleaming with the same crystalline material as Luna's crashed vessel. Maya stood in the snow, her mouth open in wonder and terror, watching as humanity's first contact with alien civilization unfolded before her eyes. The military soldiers around them had lowered their weapons, not out of surrender, but out of pure shock. Commander Hayes was speaking rapidly into her radio, but Maya could hear the panic in her voice. Nothing in their training had prepared them for this moment. Luna stood beside Maya, no longer the injured visitor who needed protection. Her posture was different now, regal and commanding. The shimmer in her skin had grown brighter, and Maya realized this wasn't just Luna recovering her health. This was a queen reclaiming her power. "My people have been watching Earth for many years," Luna said, her English much clearer now. "We wanted to know if humans were ready to meet us. Most of my advisors said no. They said humans were too violent, too afraid of anything different." Maya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the Antarctic wind. What changed their minds? Luna smiled, and Maya saw warmth in those large alien eyes. "You did. When you found me broken and dying, you could have called your government immediately. You could have become famous as the human who discovered alien life. Instead, you chose to heal me. You showed me kindness when you had every reason to be afraid." The largest ship began to descend, landing with impossible grace on the ice nearby. As it touched down, a doorway opened with that same wind chime sound Maya remembered from Luna's craft. Figures emerged. More of Luna's people, all tall and graceful, their skin shimmering with different colors like living rainbows. Commander Hayes finally found her voice. Dr. Rodriguez, step away from the alien. We need to establish communication protocols and assess the threat level. Luna's expression hardened. There is no threat, human commander. We come in peace. But there are laws among my people that must be followed. Maya watched as Luna's people approached, their movements fluid and purposeful. They carried what looked like ceremonial items, objects that glowed with inner light and sang soft, musical notes when the wind touched them. One of the newcomers, clearly important based on the elaborate patterns on their clothing, stepped forward and spoke to Luna in their own language. The conversation was brief but intense, and Maya could see concern in the advisor's expression. Luna turned back to Maya, and for the first time since the ships had arrived, she looked nervous. Maya, my friend, there is something I must tell. You! Something important about our laws and customs. Maya's heart began to race. What is it? Among my people, when someone saves the life of another, especially the life of a royal, it creates what we call a soul debt. This debt can only be repaid through the highest honor our society can offer. Luna paused, searching for the right words in English. Maya Rodriguez of Earth, you saved my life when you could have chosen otherwise. You protected me when it put you in danger. You came to rescue me when I was captured. The other aliens began to arrange themselves in what looked like a ceremonial formation. Maya noticed that some of them were holding what appeared to be recording devices, capturing every moment of this historic encounter. Luna took Maya's hands in her own, and Maya was surprised by how warm they felt despite the freezing temperature. According to the laws of the Zephyrian Collective, I must offer you the greatest gift I can give. Maya Rodriguez, I offer you my hand in marriage, and with it, an alliance between our worlds. Maya felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. Marriage? To an alien queen? The concept was so beyond anything she had imagined that her mind struggled to process it. I don't understand, Maya stammered. Marriage? But we're from different species, different planets. How would that even work? Luna's advisor stepped forward and began speaking in heavily accented English. The Queen honors you greatly, human Maya. Royal marriage among our people is not just personal union. It is diplomatic alliance, scientific partnership, cultural bridge between civilizations. Commander Hayes pushed forward, her face red with anger and confusion. This is insane. Dr. Rodriguez cannot make decisions that affect all of humanity. This requires government approval, international cooperation, years of negotiation. But Luna shook her head. The soul debt cannot be delayed. Maya must choose now, while both our peoples witness. She can accept and become bridge between Earth and Zephyra, or she can decline and our peoples will remain separate for another 1,000 years. Maya looked around at the surreal scene surrounding her. Military personnel with their weapons lowered, alien beings holding glowing ceremonial objects, ships from another world hovering in Earth's sky. Everything felt like a dream, but the warmth of Luna's hands in hers was real. What would it mean? Exactly? Maya asked. If I said yes, what would happen to me? Luna's expression grew serious. You would need to undergo genetic enhancement to survive in our environment. Your lifespan would be extended to match ours, about 800 of your years. You would become ambassador between our species, helping both sides learn from each other. Maya's mind raced with questions. What about Earth? What about my family? My life here? You would divide your time between both worlds, Luna explained. We propose to establish a research station on your moon, where both species can work together, safely. You would spend part of each year there, part on Zephyra, and part on Earth. The weight of the decision was overwhelming. Maya wasn't just choosing her own future. She was choosing the future of human-alien relations. If she said no, first contact might end before it truly began. If she said yes, She would be stepping into a role no human in history had ever filled. Maya looked into Luna's eyes and saw hope there, but also understanding. Luna would respect whatever choice she made, even if it meant losing the chance for their peoples to unite. "Can I have time to think about this?" Maya asked. Luna nodded. "Of course, but Maya, you should know. This offer comes not just from law, but from my heart. In the time we spent together, you became more than my rescuer. You became someone I care about deeply." Maya felt her cheeks flush despite the cold. Somewhere, between nursing Luna back to health and sharing quiet breakfasts in the ice chamber, she had fallen in love with this extraordinary being from the stars. Now she had to decide if she was brave enough to follow her heart across the galaxy. Maya spent the next 3 days in what felt like the strangest situation any human had ever experienced. Luna's people had created a temporary living space for her aboard their flagship, a room that somehow felt both alien and comfortable at the same time. The walls seemed to pulse gently with soft light, and the air smelled like flowers Maya had never encountered before. During this time, Maya was free to explore parts of the ship and meet Luna's people. She discovered that the Zephyrians were nothing like the scary aliens from movies. They were curious, peaceful, and incredibly kind. Many of them had learned basic English just to speak with her, and they treated her with a respect that made Maya feel both honored and overwhelmed. Luna's advisor, who asked Maya to call him Keeper Zane, became her guide during these 3 days. He showed her recordings of Zephyrian society, and Maya was amazed by what she saw. Their cities were built in harmony with nature. Their technology cleaned the environment instead of damaging it, and their people seemed to live without the conflicts that plagued Earth. "Your planet is beautiful," Maya told Zane as they watched. Images of floating gardens and crystal spires that reached toward multiple suns. Zane smiled sadly. "It was not always so peaceful. Long ago, we faced the same problems your people face now: war, pollution, hatred of those who were different. We nearly destroyed ourselves before we learned to choose cooperation over conflict." On the second day, Luna took Maya to a special chamber where they could speak privately. The room had a transparent dome that showed the stars above, and Maya felt like she was floating in space itself. "I want you to understand something important," Luna said, sitting beside Maya on what looked like a bench made of living crystal. "If you choose to marry me, it will not be easy. You would be the first human to live among my people for extended periods. There will be challenges, loneliness, and moments when you miss Earth terribly." Maya looked at Luna's beautiful alien face and felt her heart ache with conflicting emotions. "What if I'm not strong enough? What if I make mistakes that hurt the relationship between our peoples?" Luna took Maya's hand gently. "Do you remember when you first found me broken and dying in the ice? You could have made many mistakes then. You could have been afraid, or selfish, or cruel. Instead, you chose kindness. That choice showed me who you really are, Maya Rodriguez. You are stronger than you know." On the third day, Maya was contacted by Earth's leaders. Presidents, prime ministers, and scientists from around the world spoke to her through video calls that somehow reached Luna's ship. The conversations were intense and sometimes frightening. "Dr. Rodriguez," said President Chen of the Global Council, "you must understand the magnitude of this decision. You would not just be marrying an individual, you would be creating a permanent link between humanity and an advanced alien civilization." Some of the leaders were supportive, seeing the incredible opportunities for scientific advancement and peaceful cooperation. Others were terrified, warning Maya about the dangers of trusting beings they didn't understand. Maya's own family was allowed to speak with her, and those conversations were the hardest of all. Her mother cried, begging Maya to come home and live a normal life. Her father was proud but worried, asking questions about Maya's safety that she couldn't fully answer. "Mia," her mother said through tears, You have always been special, always reaching for impossible dreams. But this is bigger than any one person should have to handle. Maya's younger brother, Carlos, surprised her with his support. Maya, you've spent your whole life studying life in impossible places. Now you have the chance to live it. If anyone can build a bridge between worlds, it's you. But the conversation that affected Maya most was with Dr. Peterson, her former colleague who had discovered her secret. He called from the research station, his voice heavy with regret. Maya, I'm sorry, he said simply. I was so focused on following protocol that I forgot about the wonder of what you had found. You saw a person who needed help. I saw a specimen for study. I think you were right. As the 3 days came to an end, Maya realized that her decision had already been made somewhere deep in her heart. She loved Luna, not just as a friend or even as a romantic partner, but as someone who had shown her a better way to live. Luna had taught her that intelligence and power could be combined with kindness and compassion. The ceremony took place on the ice where everything had begun, with representatives from both species watching. Luna's people had created a circle of their glowing ceremonial objects, while humans stood in a larger circle around them, recording everything for history. Maya wore a simple white dress that her mother had asked the military to bring from home, while Luna wore robes that seemed to be made of captured starlight. As they stood together in the circle, Maya felt peaceful for the first time in days. Maya Rodriguez of Earth, Luna said in her musical voice, do you accept the alliance of marriage between our peoples and the responsibility that comes with it? Maya looked around at all the faces watching her, human and alien, hopeful and fearful, curious and amazed. Then she looked back at Luna and saw her future reflected in those large, kind eyes. I do, Maya said clearly, her voice carrying across the ice and into history. The ceremony that followed was like nothing Earth had ever seen. Luna's people sang in harmonies that made the ice crystals ring like bells, while humans applauded and cheered. When Luna and Maya kissed, sealing their marriage and the alliance between their worlds, Maya felt a warmth spread through her body that had nothing to do with the alien technology enhancing her biology. As the months passed, Maya settled into her new role as humanity's first interstellar ambassador. She spent time on the Moon Research Station, helping scientists from both species work together on projects that seemed like magic. She visited Zephyra and walked through those floating gardens she had seen in recordings, breathing air that tasted like music. But her favorite times were still the quiet moments with Luna, sharing meals and talking about their dreams for the future. They spoke of the children they might have someday, beings who would be truly citizens of both worlds. They planned research expeditions to distant planets and cultural exchange programs that would bring their peoples closer together. Sometimes, Maya missed the simple life she had left behind, the peaceful days in Antarctica studying tiny creatures in the ice. But then she would look at Luna, or watch human and Zephyrian children playing together on the moon station, or receive messages from Earth about the incredible advances their cooperation had brought, and she knew she had made the right choice. Maya Rodriguez had started as a scientist studying life in impossible places. Now she was living an impossible life herself and loving every moment of it.